On the weekend, Thursday, Saturday, a little different, especially coming off of a Sunday match. Two 5-game wins. Both matches down 1 game to 2 games to 1, and came back and won. And I thought this at the beginning of the year that we're a very resilient group, but it doesn't always show up at the right time. And it showed up just in time, both matches on Thursday and Friday. I thought different players played well at different times. I thought that the MAC is getting a little bit interesting at this point. Kent State, I think, has really turned it on, and I thought they played really well against us Thursday night. And then sure enough, they proved it, going to Eastern Michigan on Saturday night and winning in 5. So Kent has really picked it up. Unfortunately, it's just a little too late. I don't think they have a chance to sneak into the conference tournament. And Central played without one of their better middles in their lineup against us, and I thought played terrific. I thought it actually helped their left sides play better, either that or more inspired, or maybe we're just really bad at defending those two kids. But I thought they scored a lot of points against us, and I thought Central played really well. They made it really tough on us to score. I think us and Central are both very streaky teams throughout this year in terms of game by game, or 10 minutes of great play and then 3 minutes of maybe some mistakes. And I just thought we held it together enough to push in 4 and 5 and get wins. And so I was really proud of our resiliency in both matches this weekend. And so now we go one more weekend at home and then into the conference tournament. And so the season is coming to a close here in the near future. Hopefully the season doesn't end anytime in the really near future. But we're still trying to get better. There's still things we can be better at. It's just challenging at this time of year. We have to shorten practices just because of health and to make sure we're fresh at the end. And so working on some of the small details is a little bit harder at this point. Or teaching players new things is difficult because that often requires a lot of reps that you're just not able to do right now. And with a really young team, I just think it's more of a factor than it has been in the past. We talked about actually in the office today as a coaching staff 1 or 2 things that we wish we were better at that in years past we maybe have been a little bit better at, but we haven't had as much time, we feel, to work on them. And it's because it's just been a constant battle to get used to one another, to learn a system and a style that will be effective with this many new players on the floor. We've had a really good string of off seasons where when you return a bunch of kids, you can come into the season knowing what style you're going to play. And this year we had to learn it as the year has gone on. How are we going to play? How are we going to win? Because our freshmen weren't here. And we're asking a lot of them. So we're getting there. We continue to get better. Conference stats came out. We're second in offense and first in defense, so I was pretty pleased there. I think we're first in blocking, fourth in aces. We're down there in assists, but I think some of that's because we score some points blocking. So I think we're holding our own in terms of the league, and I think the league is really good, and it's hard to win in this league right now. I think it's rated the 7th highest conference in the country. I think our RPI is 4th in the league, and I think 52 right now, which would probably put us in a bubble out situation. So we're going to have to play well down the stretch here to try and climb in the RPI a little bit. Last year, I think 45 got in. And then in previous years, I think somebody in the 50 has gotten in before. I think Miami got in at like a 54, but you got to have some quality wins to do that. So really all we can worry about, the team isn't focused on the RPI stuff at this point. We're not focused on it that much as a staff. We just kind of know about it. The biggest thing is getting better because we are going to have to play well at the end. We're going to have to play well this weekend, and we're going to have to play really well going into that conference tournament. So we hope to keep getting better, and we'll see what Akron and Buffalo bring to us this weekend.
So is there any concentration on kind of like what's happening over in the West? I know Ball State lost to both Northern Illinois and Western Michigan, and those 2 teams play this week. You guys kind of just look at that, or kind of more worried about just your
Well, I think, this time of year we start, in preparation for the conference tournament. Of course, we're in the conference tournament. So we do not intend to overlook Akron Buffalo, but at the same time, we focus in on those teams. But the coaching staff will become familiar with some of our potential opponents in the conference tournament. For example, if it were to start today, we'd be looking at Eastern Michigan in the first round. Then if we were able to win that match, we'd be looking at this potential matchup. And so we start watching, at least I start watching some of the time we played those guys last time. And I usually watch every match after we play it, like the day after we play it, or like on a bus ride home. But in this case, we really review it again. We try and see what we tried to do that did work, what they tried to do that maybe worked, just to see some potential matchups that might happen in a conference tournament.
So how much do you think that resiliency will come in handy down the stretch in the tournament? Probably be a lot of close games.
Well, we hope to. We hope our character. We're 7-1 in 5th games, and the one we lost was the first match of the year against Tennessee. So. I think it was our first match. It was a long time ago. So, we hope that we feel if we can push, if we can get in close situations, we can win. What we talked about after the Central win was, you've got to beat us 3 sets. You got to close the door. If you're up 2-0 on us, if you're up 1-2, whatever it is, you got to beat us 3 times. And if we can stop that from happening, we're going to be the winner. It's sometimes you say the simple things, but they make sense to the team based on the situation. And that was, Thursday down 1-2, Saturday down 1-2. You got to beat us 3 times, and hopefully for the next couple of weeks nobody can do that.
Senior night is Saturday against Akron. Have you kind of thought about that at all, or what kind of emotions does that stir up? Because it's kind of a normal game, but it's really not.
Yeah, Katie and Nicole have been, they've been here since I got here. And my first day on the job, I think I was second day on the job, I was at Katie Post's house, telling her to still come to Ohio. And I was on the phone with Nicole Staberman going, are you still going to come? Are you still going to come? And so, I've really gotten to see those two grow up. And, right now I feel like I might have more emotion than those two. I mean, if you know those two, you know where I was coming from with that. Like, Nicole isn't going to give you much. She may get teary-eyed on the senior night. I have no idea. I don't think I've ever seen that from her. And then Katie, she's antsy. She does not want her career to end, and is sad that her time is running up. But at the same time, that stirs the pot with her more. That gets her fired up. So I would think we'll see some tears, but we do it after the match. We usually try and squeeze in at some point in the match something special for them. But there's 2 of them, and they're pretty level-headed, bright kids. So I don't foresee anything going too crazy on senior night.
And a lot of good statistics posted by a lot of different players on Thursday and Saturday. Do you feel like the team is kind of gelling at the right time?
Yeah, that's. I thought about that today, actually, when the MAC release came out and we didn't have any Players of the Week again. And I thought, it's just a little bit about balance. We don't have the league's leading point scorer. We do have the league's leading blocker. Katie's leading the league in blocking and 3rd in efficiency in attacking. But, we're pretty balanced. In one game, I think it was the first set against Central, Chelsea gets 7 kills. And in the 5th, she had none. And we win both those sets, and because Kelly had more, and Katie was getting used as a decoy in situations, and so we have some ability to have different players step up and score enough points to help us win. It'll just take 4 of them, all playing pretty well, if not 5 and 6, to win a championship. It takes a little bit more than 2 kids trying to squeeze it through in that tournament.
What have you learned about coaching this time of the year in terms of, like you said, having to balance practice, making sure the players don't get too tired, but still getting all that work in to make sure that you improve in areas that you need to improve in?
Yeah, I think what we've learned is just trying to keep it fresh and fun, and at the same time, just intense. I mean, I think we just have to go intense. So if we need to work on something, it almost has to be in 6-on-6 settings. So that we're just efficient with practice, so we stay sharp in 6-on-6 play, but at the same time can still try and get better. I would say, in a large part of the year, our practice is 50-50 skill training versus competing, and I think that now we're probably at about a 75% competition level. We just have to go shorter, and we've got to try and stay sharp in that skill and work on things to get better in that skill. And when you go competition a higher percentage, you have to shorten practice because otherwise they'll just get too exhausted. So we try to compete quickly and get them out of there fast. So I think we're doing the right formula. It has worked so far, but every team is different. It could be, who knows? I could be doing the completely wrong thing right now. But we've done well so far preparing for end of the year pushes, and so we'll hope that it works with this team as well.
And do you think that their endurance as a team is at the level it needs to be?
I thought we actually looked like we had more energy in the fifth set against Kent, certainly, than we did in the first 2 or 3. And I thought against Central, I was impressed with our ability to put our foot on the gas after a 5-setter Thursday, a practice Friday, and a 5-setter Saturday. I thought this team has done a pretty good job of staying conditioned throughout the year.
So you can kind of call on them when you need it, like, okay, ladies, now's the time to step up, and that they'll rise.
We hope. I think being down 1-2 is a message enough for them to try and have to step up. It's more just about energy levels. I thought we were no energy Thursday versus Kent, and why would we? It's a Thursday game off of a Sunday game, and kids started classes at 7. They got up at 7 and 7:30 in the morning to go to 8 o'clock class, go to class all day, practice, pregame meal, and here's a match thrown upon us. And so I thought we finally started to show energy in the 4th and 5th against Kent, and I think it was just the adrenaline of being down that pushed us through it. And then Saturday, I thought we were back to normal. I thought we started with the right amount of energy, and we still had some left in the 5th. So I think that they were able to put it out there when they needed.
So it'll be nice to have kind of 6-day break.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It just, again, a difficult weekend turnaround last week. It was challenging, and we got through it, and hopefully we'll be a little bit better off to start Friday night's match this week.
Earlier you mentioned that the team has been kind of learning as it's going about the style that you're going to play. Do you feel like you finally have an identity, and what is that identity?
Well, I don't know that we have an identity because it's been a revolving door of people stepping up and making plays. So I would say our identity, we hope that it is, if you try and stop us one way, we can beat you another. If you want to take our middles out, our left sides will get you. If you want to take our left sides, our middles will get you. You can't take away everything from us, and hopefully our mantra for the rest of the year can be, finding what they're giving us and scoring. All right, well, thank you all. Special props to, we had another question?
Yeah, I just want to throw one. On your 2 seniors, obviously everyone matures from 17, 18 to 21, 22. Anything off the court that you notice in Katie and Nicole?
Well, Nicole has probably been one of the most mature players that I've ever worked with in 12 years of coaching. It's unbelievable to me. She had a rough spell, like the 3rd week in the season of play, and we sat her down for a little while and just said, hey, you had a great preseason. You're not playing that well right now. And she looked at me and said, I realize you're bringing me in here to tell me this because I'm a senior. And I get that you have to do that. But as long as we do well, I'm happy. It's the most remarkable thing I think a kid has ever said to me. Hey, if you have to bench me, you have to bench me. The team doing well is what's important. Just to flat out say it, to get like, hey, you don't even need to talk to me about this. I get it. She's a pretty bright kid. And then, Katie, I think, has absolutely grown up in the 4 years. I remember just being at her house when she was a senior in high school. She was just, to me, a big little kid, and I think she's grown up and is an incredible, responsibility, leadership, does everything the right way. And really takes a lot of burden on her own shoulders and tries to help manage the team and get us some wins. And so I think she's grown up from, like I said, when I saw her as a 17-year-old to a leader, a strong individual, a tough kid who's going to be a great professional player when she gets out of here. And then she'll move into the business world. I'm sure she'll be great at that too. But she's going to play pro after this, and she's going to be a great asset to a pro team. So those two have been terrific. I'm excited for them to move on in the future, but at the same time, I'm sad to lose them. I did want to just say congrats to field hockey on their MAC championship. It was awesome. We got several of our players and our coaching staff got to be there. I was there for the second half and overtime, and that was terrific to see. So thanks to them for some motivation on Saturday, and best of luck to them Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Thank you.